I'll take you through my personal experience of doing a kitchen and dining room renovation on a budget, sharing my practical tips, challenges, and creative ideas along the way. To achieve what I envisioned, I applied these 4 crucial steps: improving functionality, adding personality and charm, improving practicality, and styling and decorating. Hello everyone, my name is Nicola, I'm an architect and I'm completely renovating this apartment, so I'm inviting you to come along with me on this journey. As you can see, this kitchen looks really outdated, worn out, and has some big functional problems. It has good position in apartment and is oriented to east with small pantry on the left side. On the other side is dining room with balcony and direct connection to living room. The biggest problem in the kitchen is definitely lack of counter space. As you can see on this side, this is only usable surface. My idea is to remove that small portion and install new countertop from stove over dishwasher to the other end with a new bigger single basin sink, and also replace the faucet. Apart from that, I have to take down the wallpapers and fix the area around the window. I'll also replace countertop on the other side, so they are all the same. We never use folding door towards pantry, they just get in the way, so my plan is to remove them and make open arched doorway. I feel that will add such a nice touch because everything else in kitchen is rectangular. To make 2 sides of kitchen look less disjointed, I came up with an idea to introduce symmetry into this space. Since finding and applying the same tiles on these surfaces would be too difficult, I want different wall material that will look cohesive with tiles, and I'm thinking vertical shiplap boards painted white would be a good option. To complete the look, I want 2 wall sconces on each side. This wall can be seen directly from dining room, so it's logical to make it almost like a feature wall. In the dining room, my plan is to update and do a bit daring makeover of balcony door and deal with this transom window to make it more integrated part of the design. In terms of budget, I roughly calculated that around 600 euros would be enough, but we'll see at the end how that will go. I know that's not a lot for this sort of project, but I'm gonna save a lot by mostly doing everything by myself. And here are some inspirational photos that I gathered for this project. Dark countertops, brass faucet and other details, white shiplap, earthy and warm tones, colored glass. These wallpapers are more than 10 years old. They are degraded and I actually think not suitable for kitchens at all. I expected that removing them would take no more than half an hour, but oh, I was wrong. Right about here is when I noticed that I was pulling not only wallpapers, but many other different layers of paint underneath, and the wallpaper itself was splitting into multiple layers. So this quickly turned into a massive task that needed to be done, and only thing I could do is just scrape all the layers up to mortar itself. I'm not quite sure why this happened. I think they used too much glue, or walls were just not prepared properly for this type of wallpaper. Spring water and letting it soak a little bit really helped a lot, and doing it in small portions of the wall one by one. Can you imagine how kitchen looked when it was painted entirely this bright orange color? Yeah, crazy. After almost 2 long days of just scraping and scraping, walls needed to be smoothed out, and for that I used plain wall putty. After applying with a spatula, I waited a few hours for it to dry before I sanded it with 220 grit sanding sponge. Finally, walls in kitchen were ready for paint, and thankfully walls in dining room were good to go for painting right away. I choose this neutral color, it's on the lighter side, but still dark enough to make contrast with white cabinets and trim. When I tested it on wall, it came out differently, looked more like pink than neutral. I quickly discovered that my red brick flooring have impact on walls because of the reflection, so I needed to alter color a bit. And how to neutralize tone that you don't like? Well, just add color that is opposite on color wheel, and in my case that was green. I used the same color for both kitchen and dining room, and it came out exactly how I wanted. It gave room this really nice, cozy and warm feel. Because of this type of kitchen layout, I designed new countertops that will have one waterfall edge on the right side. That is basically point where kitchen ends and dining room starts, and it's all gonna be done in a DIY style. The current cabinets are actually not that bad. Structurally they are okay, and with new door hardware will appear brand new. Firstly, I needed to prepare them. I unscrewed and removed upper part. Since this washer is the same height as cabinets, I had to raise them for roughly 4 centimeters, so the new countertop can span over it. I replaced shorter legs with longer ones. I turned off the water and disconnected all pipes and drain. And then I removed old kitchen sink. Surprisingly, everything went smoothly. I checked multiple times that surface was level and adjusted legs if needed. I decided on these dark countertops because I really wanted to change all white look in kitchen and to add contrast and heaviness to it. I bought 2 pieces, one regular length and one smaller. The bigger piece is for right side and it needs 1 cut to be required length. It will have 3 cm overhang on the side, so the side panel will be positioned below it. Smaller countertop piece will have 2 cuts, one for side panel to create waterfall edge and other for left side. I only have one chance to cut and get everything right. I started with smaller piece. The most important thing is to have good measurements. So I measured everything 5 times and marked lines for cutting. I attached straight scrap piece of wood as a guide for circular saw with which I will cut it. I do have experience with using this tool, but never with this type of material and shape. To get clean, crisp cut, I taped both sides with masking tape and put a new sharp blade. even though these sides where cut is exposed will be hidden. I didn't want to leave them unfinished. With these Ikea countertops, they provide you with strips that are glued and fitted to the edge. I tested it before installing sink and other elements to be sure that it's gonna fit properly. I mounted side panel that is attached with screws from inside. Apart from budget, one of the reasons I took everything from Ikea is that I knew that Ikea sink would fit on Ikea countertop and that Ikea faucet would fit Ikea sink, so I didn't have to worry about compatibility. I won't go too much into details for installation, I simply followed Ikea instructions and I didn't have any major problems. It's definitely easier to assemble everything before putting countertop on its final place. One thing that I messed up at the very end is when I outlined sink on the surface for cutting. I changed its location multiple times and ended up with a bunch of parallel lines, and I started cutting on the wrong one. So either mark it once or mark the right cut lines with another color. Honestly, this turned out better than I imagined. I wanted to show how one ordinary IKEA item can be easily transformed into something that has a more custom look and gives the kitchen a more distinctive appearance. These are my wooden double pane glass balcony door. I really want to change their look and make them more interesting. So while looking for inspiration, I came across this picture and saw opportunity to transform them into something like this. Don't this black door with horizontal lines look so sleek and classy? And also they will balance out new black countertops on the opposite side of the room. Firstly, I painted upper panel and sides with the same color as walls in dining room. Then I taped painter's tape on all contact surfaces and painted over it again with the same color. This will create a seal between the tape and the base color, ensuring that next paint color won't bleed underneath the tape. After sanding it with 100 grit and then 220 grit sanding paper, I started painting the door and applied 2 coats of black paint. For horizontal lines, I bought wood strips that are 1 cm wide and half centimeters thick. I cut them to size with hand saw, and I needed 6 pieces, 3 for each side. I painted them the same way, 2 coats of black and 2 coats of polyacrylic in satin finish. Final step is attaching them on glass panels, and for that I used double-sided foam tape. You could use something stronger like silicone, but since this is decorative light pieces of wood, foam tape worked great for me. This might be my favorite DIY ever. It completely changed the look of this room and elevated so much. Just look how brass hardware stands out now, and the room actually feels wider because of horizontal segments. Really simple project, but effective. Between dining room and living room, there is this huge opening where there used to be a 3-part door that we removed long time ago and left just this transom window. I want to remove all traces that there used to be a door and place vertical grills to highlight this transom window and make it more interesting. A 4-part division will appear to be in good proportion, I think. I removed all the rubber strips from the door frame, and using caulking gun I filled all the holes and empty slots with paintable acrylic caulk. I put a lot of effort into this to make it look seamless and smooth. After that I painted it with same color as dining room, so basically color drenching it, except for the black accent door. Just like for the balcony door, I used wood strips, this time 1 cm by 1 cm, painted them and attached them the same way. And here is final result. Small change, but looks so much nicer, and it feels that it's actually built intentionally. I needed to remove this folding door. They are plastic, cheap looking, and we actually never use them. They are always folded and are just making this opening smaller and less accessible. One positive thing is that you can hide all the mess in pantry with them, but I'm planning to do pantry makeover and make it better organized now when it's gonna be more visible from the kitchen. For the arched doorway and vertical shiplap, I'm using half centimeter thick MDF boards. This is the ideal material for this because it's smooth, relatively strong for this purpose and not too heavy. In total I needed 4 boards. In my garage I have a table saw with which I will cut the panels so they're all the same width, but if you don't have one, this could be also done with a jigsaw with parallel guides. Here I'm marking the position of the light switch so I can cut a hole for it. There are a couple of methods for attaching these boards to walls, and it depends on the type of wall itself. Mine are made from brick and mortar, so I can't use nails. In that case, gluing them with a strong adhesive made for this type of joint is a good solution. The advantage of this is that you can have some extra time to position boards in their place. I used scrap wood as a spacer to have equal spacing between boards. After the backsplash area was done, I repeated the same procedure for the other part. I didn't randomly choose board width. I measured this section and divided into 4, which gave me measurements to fit 4 equal boards and 1 horizontal board on top to finish it nicely. For the arch doorway, I needed to cut several pieces. I prepared a rectangular board that is the same size as the opening, and inside I drew an arc using rope and a nail that I put in the center. This is an easy way to get a half circle drawn in the exact spot that you want, which then can be slowly cut with a jigsaw. My measurements were perfect, and I secured this to the door frame with small nails. I didn't want to overcomplicate and do this in full width as the door frame, since this is just an opening for the pantry. This is simple and easy to assemble, and it creates the desired look that I wanted. This window is in really bad condition. I don't think it was ever touched since it was originally installed almost 50 years ago. Paint is chipping, some parts rotted away, and I feel it was never finished properly because it's missing trim. It would be easier to replace it with a new one, as many already did when renovating apartments in this building, but I think it's still worth trying to save it. The window still is only segment that needed to be completely replaced, so I simply replicated the same shape from a beach board and I tested a few stains on it, but I didn't like any of them. So I'm just gonna leave it in its natural form. For me, the biggest problem visually with this window is transition from tiles to wall and how rough they look with visible edges, and also upper box where there used to be sun blind. All that I want to hide and cover up with wood boards that I'm attaching with screws. This way I created structure which on top can be added trim, and for that I try to find the same one as one that is used on other doors in apartment, which is just simple profile with one rounded edge. One thing that I really liked about this window is its existing hardware that is made out of some metal. I'm not sure which one exactly. I think it's brass maybe. It goes super well with everything else in the kitchen, but it was covered in old paint. so I carefully removed it with scalpel, and after that painted damaged parts with similar gold color. Window frame and all other parts except window sill were thoroughly sanded and coated with multiple layers of white paint in satin finish. I thought white was only logical option considering color of cabinets, tiles and walls. I was really shocked how good it turned out. It looks bigger and more prominent in the kitchen. With this layout, upper kitchen cabinets have this dead end side that I really don't like, because it's directly visible from dining room, and I thought adding something to fill that gap would improve how everything looks. I came up with this really simple shelf that can be used as spice rack and place for displaying small decor items. I added wooden rods and I removed material from side, so it feels more open and can be reached easily. These silver handles needed to go, and I replaced them with antique brass ones. I always get surprised how this relatively simple change can have such a big impact. Now that we have a bigger counter space, I mounted under cabinet lighting. Adding different types of lighting is really crucial if we want our spaces to look luxurious and well designed. So in this room, we have ambient or main lighting here, task lighting in form of wall sconces and under cabinet lighting here, and accent lighting, in my case candles, that I'm gonna add later. When a certain style resonates deeply with us, it can evoke feelings of comfort, familiarity and peace. Design has the power to create an emotional connection and set the mood of a space. From the beginning of the renovation, I had a vision and plan for how these spaces should feel and look like. Now that we have a clean, blank and functional space, we can move on to styling, decorating and adding final touches. For curtains, I wanted something that would blend in with the wall color, so the emphasis will be more on the door behind. I opted for Ikea Hannah Lil curtains. They're absolutely amazing. I like how they soften outside light and create a soft, gloomy atmosphere inside. If you want that natural linen look, this is a great budget-friendly alternative option. This wall in the dining room is the perfect place for displaying art. It has a central position and it is framed with a transom window that divides this room from the living room. So I wanted to put one large format art piece with a moderately ornate gold frame. I couldn't find anything in that specific size and look that wouldn't cost too much, but at my local flea market I found these two frames, which at first sight I wasn't that much excited about, but I quickly came up with the idea of using two frames to create one bigger composition. For art itself, I found one that I really liked, and I printed it in the print shop on canvas material that's glued to thin wood boards. I'm gonna link this art if you're interested in the description box. Using small nails, I secured them in the frames and hung them slightly above the dining table. you want that feeling of calm and peace, you can't go wrong with art that has pronounced horizontality and simple motifs and shapes. Now let's talk a little bit about style. I wanted to achieve a design aesthetic that combines elements of Scandinavian design with vintage or retro influences, and it's primarily characterized by simplicity, functionality, and a warm nostalgic feel. It's essentially mixing new and modern with traditional, so there are a lot of names that this could be called, such as transitional style, eclectic, new traditional, or some other, but I'm calling it vintage Scandi. I just love how that sounds, and it conveys this style much more clearly. To get a harmonious and timeless space, the most important thing is balance between the two, and now I'm gonna show you the key elements that define this space. On the more modern side, we have new countertops with crisp, clean lines, updated black balcony door with horizontal segment. These two also add much needed contrast and depth to the kitchen. This simple and elegant brass faucet, white tiles, shiplap, and lights. On the other, more traditional side, we have cabinet doors. If they were typical modern ones, then this would be much harder to pull out. Antique brass handles, the main art piece with these beautiful frames, some decorations, and dried ferns and flowers. More than thrilled how this all turned up, but I would like to hear your opinions and thoughts. I hope it was pleasant and interesting to watch, and I'll see you soon in the next project. Bye bye!